with Clément.
Clément.
The one and only. He's gonna tell us a little about the deep experience that he had at Vipassana and also some other things. How did you decide to go on this 10-day retreat to Vipassana?
I heard about it from entrepreneurs.
Really?
I follow an entrepreneur called Loïc Lemeur, who's a French entrepreneur in San Francisco. So I followed him on social media. Actually, my brother was following him, and then he told me about him, and he talked about Vipassana, and then my brother told me about Vipassana. They wanted to do it, and then I met people that told me I did Vipassana. It was like an amazing experience. So I got some information about it. I started to get interested in it. And then I realized it was 10 days of silence, that you couldn't even look at people in their eyes. That's hard.
Yeah.
But what I thought of Vipassana, like when I signed up for Vipassana, I didn't know half of what was going on in Vipassana. So I discovered half of the stuff when I was there. I just knew that it was 10 days, that I would be out of this world for 10 days, and that the fact that I was quitting my job and that I was like I had a lot of free time, this was the moment to do it. If I wasn't doing it like right now, I would never do it.
Yeah.
So it was like the perfect moment. So I had to do it at least once.
And how was the process? You got there, like you received some instructions, like that you need to be silent.
Yeah. Basically, when you sign up, you have like this email saying basic stuff like, yeah, you're not going to be able to talk, and it's going to be 10 days, you will arrive on this day, and so you arrive, you are welcome there, people are nice, you can talk, no problem, you arrange everything, they take your stuff, they take your phone, every writing instrument, notebooks, because you're not allowed to write anything.
You cannot escape, you know?
Yeah, exactly, like every electronic stuff, MP3 players, all that stuff, like smartphone, that's not allowed. So you give it at the beginning of the experience, and you can still connect with people. You share a cup of tea, and you're connecting a bit with people. But you know that by 8 p.m., after the first group meditation, you will have to remain silent for 10 days. And yeah, that's how it starts. And they just give you a planning that is displayed on the main hall. And every morning you just see the planning, which is basically almost the same every day.
Meditate.
But you just want to read something because you don't communicate with people. So every morning it's just like, let's see what is up today, but it's the same, you know. You want to read some stuff.
Awesome. So yeah, and tell me about the experience, like first day, second day, third day, like how was it different from one day to the other? Like, did you feel like different levels of awareness? Like, I don't know, what did you start to mind fuck so much that you wanted to get out of there? Like, how was it?
The first thing, on the first day, first meditation, you just think, what the fuck am I doing here? Like, what is going on? Like, why am I here? Because it's out of any kind of religion, and they insist on that. Like, we're not trying to convert you on any religion. We are out of religion. Like, they teach, their teaching is from Buddha, but it's outside of Buddhism.
Yeah.
And they insist on that, but it's still a very Eastern culture. So you have some rituals, like at the beginning of every meditation the guy is singing, and for them it's just like kind of putting up the mood for the meditation. And it's nothing spiritual, but as a good Western guy you're just like, what the fuck is going, what am I doing here? And with time you just accommodate to that, and I guess your mind is just, because you have to shut up for 10 days, so your mind doesn't shut up, like it wants to express, you know, so you just think a lot. When you have like free time, you just think and think and think, because basically we had 11 hours of meditation a day with some breaks to breathe a little, and during the breaks it's just like rolling in your head. And on the first 3 days you're just focusing on your breathing, and they just want you to calm yourself, to calm your mind, and to be more and more aware. And they make you focus on smaller and smaller parts of like a smaller area near your nose. So you focus on the breathing, but a smaller and smaller area, so you get like, so you sharpen your spirit, and you get more focused.
Yeah.
And at the end of those 3 first days, you feel calmer. You feel yeah.
You feel like after the third day that's the mind slowed down,
Yeah.
and you're getting more used to like connect
Exactly.
to that space of presence and
Exactly.
focus. Okay, that's awesome. And what else? From then on, did you felt like more the energy in your body? Like how was it from the rest of the days? How was the experience?
Well, the 4th day, I don't want to give to say too much about it, because I think if you want to do Vipassana, you have to discover something. You have to discover a part. You have to kind of keep the surprise.
It's gonna be your own experience.
Yeah. And when you say too much about your own experience, you are wasting a bit the others' experience, because they have expectancies.
Yeah, and that will block
Expectations.
the
Sorry.
surrender that you need to have for your own experience to express. Like, right? If you're imagining how it's supposed to be because you heard some guy saying
Exactly.
it, then you will be thinking, maybe I'm starting to feel this, or maybe and
exactly.
then
And you're interpreting everything, and your mind is just going crazy. Like, a friend of mine said too much about his experience, so I just thought, like, I didn't feel that. He told me he felt that. I didn't feel that. But the whole point of the experience is to remain equanimous about that, to just like, it's okay if I feel that. It's okay if I feel pain instead of a positive, like pleasing sensations, and just accepting it, and the whole point is to do that.
Yeah.
So just what I can tell is that from the 4th day the real shit is happening, and that's when it becomes really challenging. You start to feel a lot of pain, physical pain, and because you feel a lot of physical pain, and you learn to keep some distance with this pain, you go deeper into like deep feelings you had when you were younger. You have the funny thing is that when you have pain, you feel pain in your body, and your brain will interpret this pain, like give you an interpretation of this pain, and you will see episodes of your life. That's what happened to me, like episodes of your life. Like I didn't even remember this happened to me, but I remember now that I see it, and I remember it was I was hurt this day. So you just like slaps in your face like for the whole meditation, and
that sounds like an ayahuasca trip a bit.
Really?
that you're.
I definitely have to try that.
That you're just like facing all like fears and past memories. They come straight at you like bam, bam.
Exactly. And sometimes those aren't even real memories. Sometimes it's just kind of expression of your ego.
Yeah.
So this didn't happen, but you have the images in your brain. You can see it, and it's very hard not to think at the end like, what the fuck? Like, this came from me. I'm a monster. I thought about that. It can be real. So it's very important to just step from this and say, it's my ego. It's not me. It's kind of watch it as a third person, and I'm just feeling like, it's okay. I'm just a human,
Yeah, I would say that it's not your conscious, like, it's not the person that you think you are at a conscious level that is coming up with these ideas, but basically you're getting into deeper states of consciousness. So this information that it's on a subconscious level, it's coming up and showing you like through images and like. Because the funny thing, like at our academy, we talk about how if you want to communicate with the subconscious mind, you need to communicate through the senses. Like visually, you need to hear things and feel, and and see them and kind of have a taste of what they are. And if you learn how to say what's through the senses what you want to the mind, then you can also like program it to help you achieve those things or heal those things. And it's funny when you go into deeper states of consciousness, or when you take like things like ayahuasca or whatever. It's you see that you're creating like, it's like the dream world. It's like you're creating these visions. You have these emotions that come with visions, and like, I don't know, these stories. Yeah.
Because every single person will have a different interpretation of that. But what I really appreciated from this process, the Vipassana process, is that they don't tell you this is the way you have to do that. They just say like, you don't have the right. If you're a religious person, they say you can't have any religious ritual during these 10 days. Like, they want you to just do what they tell you to do, because they want you to give 100% chance to this technique, and at the end of the 10 days you will judge if you want to keep that technique or not, you know. But they're just like, give it a full try, and then you will be able to have an opinion on it. So I really like that.
Makes sense.
and so yeah, they step away from religion, and they tell you that there is 3 steps to a teaching. Like, for example, when you take Christianism, for example, I was born in a Christian family, so it's a good reference for me. When you take Christianism, for example, it's the same for most monotheist religion. You have the first step is the teaching, so it's the writing, the Bible for the Christians. I like the holy text for any kind of religion. The second step is to take example from people who applied this teaching, so the saints, the prophets. These people. But what is mostly missing is the third step. In religion, exactly. You have to live it yourself. Just live it, you know. You have to live the whole experience, and
experience.
Because if not, it's they don't say it because they don't want to hurt your feelings if you're religious, but basically what they mean is religion outside of experience is intellectual masturbation, you know.
Exactly. That's why, like, I designed the thing like from thinking to knowing, because one thing is intellectually thinking about these things, but you're just thinking, you're not having a taste, like, so you cannot really understand it, you know, which is like the experience is what matters, isn't it? So that makes total sense.
It's like saying if I want to lose weight, I just have to eat less calories than I spend, and just fucking do it, you know.
Talking about it.
It's a whole different thing to actually, you know, make the experiment and succeed in this path. And it's the same for like, to become rich, you just have to earn more money than you spend. Thank you, guy. You know, I like that. I like the fact that at the end of the experience, you just like, I gave it a try. I had my own experience, and I can now speak of experience. Out of experience, so
awesome. So any takeaways like that come to mind, like something that I want to ask you, like, after, so you come back, how different do you feel, like,
mostly
in your own experience?
Of course. For my part, I'm a calm guy, so it's weird to say I was calmer because I'm pretty calm. But you know, since what they're teaching you is actually the comparison. I like that comparison I told you before. It's you're a surgeon, you're the surgeon, and also the guy that needs surgery, and you're proceeding to the surgery on yourself, and you don't have like any medication. Also, you just it hurts, you know? And I like that because you proceed to the surgery on a deep level, and you make deep stuff coming out, and you get rid of some automations of your spirit, of your ego. And I noticed after a few days that we all know someone when they say something, usually parents, usually this is with parents, they say something they used to say, and it triggers something in you. You know, it annoys you, it gets you angry, and I noticed that when these happened, I wasn't. It's not that I had control over the feeling; it's that I didn't have the feeling anymore.
Like you didn't connect to it. Like how to say, you weren't being triggered because you weren't feeling connected to that experience, like to that trigger of pain, or
What do you mean?
how to say, you weren't being identified with those fights anymore in a way, or
Well, it's not that. Well, the whole point of I think of awareness and meditation is to actually step back from any feeling you feel inside and not identify yourself with it. And you know, like being able to say, all right, that's funny. My body's feeling this right now.
Yeah.
It's funny. You know, I like to think like, oh, Clément is feeling this right now. That's funny.
Yeah.
But I didn't have the feeling in the first place. Like I didn't have the feeling anymore. You know.
Yeah, you were just vibrating, flowing so much that it didn't even appear. That's
and you're just thinking like,
just
I remember
good.
last time she said that to me. Like for my mother, for example, last time she said that to me, I was angry. Like I felt that, but I don't feel that anymore. I just feel compassion. And, you know.
I just feel awesome.
Yeah, exactly. And a few weeks after this experiment, a member of my family died. It was my great uncle. I was part of. It was really. That was my great uncle, but it was quite close. You know, he was there at every family event, and I received a message from my mother on like a Friday evening saying, "Well, your great uncle is at the hospital because he had some, problem," and my parents were away, my brother and sisters were away, and I just thought like. The day after, I just thought like I have to go visit him at the hospital, and so I went to the hospital and I went to visit him. That was really personal. I didn't talk about this to anyone in my family because it was like a personal thing, a personal action I wanted to do. So I saw him on his dying bed, literally. And we had this amazing moment, connection. I'm really grateful for that. And I knew when I left the hospital that the day after I would receive a message saying that it was, the end.
Yes.
And the day after I received this message, and that's the moment where, because my mother couldn't see her uncle, I told her, well, I saw him yesterday, and I told him that we're thinking about him and everything. And I didn't feel sad at all. I felt like just gratitude. Like I got to know this guy, I got to learn from him, and I got to have this amazing moment on the final day of his life. We shared that, and
you were just feeling grateful for him.
Just grateful.
Yeah.
And I know he felt pain, and I'm just like, basically, when you're sad when an old person is dying, it's kind of an egoist feeling.
We have 10 minutes.
You're just thinking about the fact that you won't see this person anymore. But you know that if this person was suffering, it's better that way, and it's good for them. And I like what they say at Vipassana, like, when you meditate, you don't learn how to live, you learn how to die. And by learning how to die, you learn how to live.
Yeah.
And every single meditator dies smiling. And I think it's a good takeaway.
Yeah, I can definitely relate to that. That's amazing. So yeah, man, awesome. Would you recommend then that people would do it?
Definitely.
If they feel a calling, yeah.
Definitely, but yeah, like you say, when you go out of this experience, you just feel like everybody should do it, but they have to feel the calling.
They need, this thirst.
It must come from them. It's very important that it comes. So if you feel the calling, if it comes from you, you feel interested, just go. It's very important to do it, but don't force yourself, because you won't make it until the end if you force yourself. 10 days is hard, but it's really worth it.
Yeah. Awesome, man. So yeah, I think it's time to wrap it up. The guys here from the restaurant
They're
are
gonna hunt us.
trying to close the place. So yeah, man, this was awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing your experience. I bet it's gonna
No problem.
resonate with someone.
It was a
Maybe they will.
pleasure.
So yeah, guys, awesome.
Cheers.
See you next time.
Yeah.